Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Nupur, and my hair is never falling right. Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, you should know that I'm currently doing a series of true crime cases based in India. So this is the third video in this series, and without further ado, I'm gonna get into today's case. And today's case is called the Tandoor murder. This murder took place on the night of 2nd July 1995. And keep in mind, because this is an older case, I don't have as much footage from the crime scene. It was around 11 pm when Constable Abdul Nazir Kunju and Delhi Homeguard Chandar Pal were making their rounds on Ashoka Road doing their daily patrolling, and they noticed a fire coming out of Ashok Yatri Niwas, which was a hotel on Ashoka Road. Upon looking closer, they realized that this fire was coming out of an open air restaurant in the compound of Ashok Yatri Niwas. This restaurant was called Bagya Barbecue. When they tried to investigate, a man called Keshav Kumar came up to them and he said that he was the manager of the restaurant and that this was a controlled fire and that they were monitoring it. The cops weren't really convinced by Keshav Kumar. This is when a man called Sushil Sharma came up to them. And Sharma claimed that he was the part owner of the restaurant and also a politician. He claimed that he was a Congress leader and that they were burning old party posters and banners. And at this point, the cops decided to leave them alone because they seemed to know that the fire was there. And if it got out of hand, they would do something about it. So the cops left the scene. However, while patrolling, when they circled back, they heard the screams of a woman, a vegetable vendor called Anaro, who was just getting ready to sleep on the footpath. And along with her, a crowd of beggars and vegetable vendors and street dwellers had collected. And at this point, the small controlled fire in the restaurant was burning into an inferno.
मैंने कि बगिया में आग लगी, बुझाओ बुझाओ बुझाओ। एक पहले पुलिस वाला आया, होमगार्ड वाला आया। मैंने कि भाई इधर आ, पहले इसको आग को बुझा।
This time, Constable Kunju decided to call for help. And now remember, this is 1995, so he didn't have a cell phone on him. So he tried the nearest phone booth, but that phone booth wasn't working. So he asked Pal to wait at the spot while he ran almost a kilometer to find a phone booth that would work. When he got to that spot, he called the fire brigade and also he called backup from the police station. And this took him about 15 to 20 minutes, and then he ran back to Ashok Yatri Niwas. When he reached Bagya restaurant, both him and Chandarpal decided to jump the wall of the hotel to find out what was happening. And when they jumped over, they saw two men fanning this fire and trying to aid it. They were adding firewood, they were adding scraps of paper, and they were using this bamboo stick to move it around and to just try to make it grow bigger. So at this point, Kunju approached Keshav Kumar again and was like, "What are you trying to do? Why are you aiding this fire? It's already big enough. Are you trying to burn down the hotel?" And at this point, other authorities had also started arriving on the scene, and the staff from the Ashok Yatri Niwas hotel was also alerted. Senior Inspector Rajesh Kumar arrived on the scene, and along with Kunju and some security members from the hotel staff, they went up to investigate the extent of this fire. But when they reached up and they looked down, the fire was just raging even more. So everybody rushed down and tried to douse this fire. And that is when they noticed that along with the smoke that was rapidly filling the air, there was also a foul stench that was seemingly coming from the tandoor. And the cops immediately knew that this was the smell of burning flesh. So the fire was extinguished, and the officers could very quickly make out that there were remains of a human body in this tandoor.
भी आग काफ़ी थी, हमने फटाफट पानी डाला। उसके बाद थोड़ा सा लकड़ी वगैरह हटा के देखा तो ऐसा लगा कि अंदर कोई बॉडी चल रही है। पहले ऐसा लगा कि शायद किसी जानवर की बॉडी, फिर इंटेस्टाइन वगैरह नज़र आया तो इंटेस्टाइन पता चल जाता थोड़ा सा कि आदमी के हैं कि जानवर। तब हमने दोबारा उस तरफ से जाके देखा तो वहाँ से पूरा क्लियर हो गया कि बॉडी किसी ह्यूमन बीइंग की है।
Right next to the tandoor, they also found a plastic sheet, and upon checking, they found that this plastic sheet was covered in bloodstains. So Keshav Kumar, the manager of the restaurant, was detained, but Sushil Sharma, the owner/politician, had fled the scene. At this point, senior members of the police force were alerted, and investigation officer Niranjan Singh inspected the site, and he determined that the remains were that of a female victim aged around 25 to 30. Beyond this, he couldn't tell much because she was burnt beyond recognition. There were bones laying on top of the tandoor. All the limbs had burnt off. One of the leg had burnt up till the ankle, and one of the leg had burnt up till the knee. The intestines had also spilled out, and what remained was some hair. Keshav Kumar's clothes had bloodstains on them, and his clothes, along with the plastic sheet that was found next to the tandoor, were taken as evidence. So, this case is very important as far as criminal investigations go in India because it used a bunch of experts and it also used DNA testing. It was one of the first cases to use DNA testing to determine the identity of the victims because the remains were unrecognizable. So now police was obviously looking for Sushil Sharma because he fled the crime scene. But Keshav Kumar was giving police information pretty easily. Here I'm going to take a step back to talk about Sushil Sharma. Sushil Sharma was born in 1962 and he was born in a lower middle class family. From being the student union's president of Delhi University's Satyavati College in 1977 to becoming the chief of the Indian National Youth Congress in 1989, Sushil Sharma saw huge success in his political career. Several student leaders and acquaintances described Sushil as a bold and brazen man, and he also had earned the nickname of Chakumar because he had a habit of slashing posters of political rivals. And later it was also known that he carried a .32mm revolver that he would use to abduct political rivals. In 1989, he met a woman called Naina Saini. He wooed her for 4 years before the two finally got married in Delhi's Birla Temple in 1993. Naina Saini was born in 1966 and she was the youngest member of her family. Her father was called Harbhajan Singh and he was an ordnance officer, and her mother Jaswant Kaur was a school teacher. Naina came from a background quite similar to Sushil's and she was also very inclined towards politics. Somewhere along the way, she left politics to obtain a pilot's license, but soon enough, she found her way back to politics when she joined the Delhi Youth Congress as General Secretary in 1989. 4 years later, in April, she married Sushil. Now, getting back to the crime scene, the investigation officer was pretty sure that the remains found were that of Naina Saini's, and that's why they contacted her parents to identify the remains. But when they came to the mortuary and they saw the charred remains, they only wept, but they refused to identify the remains as that of their daughter Naina. Her remains were finally identified by a man named Matloob Kareem, who was a member of the Delhi Youth Congress, and he was also a colleague and friend of Naina's. At this point, Sushil was still absconding. So an autopsy was conducted on the remains and it was found that the victim died of excessive bleeding. The X-ray machine was apparently not working and that's why an X-ray was not conducted on the body at this point. On 4th July 1995, police received information from the Chanakyapuri police station that a Maruti car numbered DL2CA1872 was found abandoned at Malcha Marg. It is also rumored that this is where Sushil Sharma went after fleeing the scene at Bagya restaurant. Accordingly, the police reached to inspect the car, and when they searched the car, they found dried blood in the boot of the car. They also found some blood along with hair stuck to the back seat of the car, and all of this was taken into evidence. On the same day, 4th July, the police also searched an apartment, and this is where Keshav Kumar claimed that Sushil Sharma resided. The flat was on the first floor, and during search, police found a lot of incriminating evidence in the apartment. They seized a piece of cloth from the mattress that had bloodstains on it. The carpet also had bloodstains on it. They also found 5 fired cartridges of bullets, and they also found 1 bullet. And along with this, they also found pictures of Sushil Sharma and Naina. The police weren't convinced with the first autopsy report because it did not establish whether her body was cut up before she died or after. It did not establish a lot of questions that they had, and it also didn't account for the firearm evidence that they just found in the apartment. So the second post-mortem was done on 12th July 1995, and they did an X-ray on the body, and they found 2 metal pieces, one in the skull and one in the neck region. Upon extracting these metal pieces, they were found to be bullets. At this point, the police were fairly certain that the murder took place at Mandir Marg, after which Sushil went to barbecue. But Sushil was still absconding, and the whole nation had heard about this case at this point, and there was a nationwide manhunt for Sushil Sharma. So Sharma surrendered to police 9 days later on 11th July 1995 in Bangalore. His head was shaved off, his mustache was also shaved off, and he denied everything. He denied even being married to Naina. He said that she was just an acquaintance and he would go to her house sometimes for parties, but He denied anything further. He claimed that he left on a pilgrimage on the Sunday, 2nd of July at 11 a.m. and Naina herself called him a cab to leave. He said that he first went to Ajmer, but he doesn't remember what temple he went to in Ajmer because it was late at night and it was dark. After this, he said he went to Jaipur. From Jaipur, he went to Bombay and he went on a Modi Luft flight and he has a ticket to prove this. It was in Bombay, he says, that he found out about Naina's murder and that he was being implicated for it, and he immediately hired a lawyer, and his lawyer immediately moved for interim bail. After this, Sharma claims that he, along with his lawyer, travelled to the Venkateshwara temple in Tirupati, and he has a ticket and some prasad from the temple to prove that he was there. And this is where he tonsured his head and shaved off his mustache, and this is pretty common to do at this temple, but it's also, I guess, a good disguise. When they came back to Madras, they realized that a high court had struck down the bail that was granted. At this point, they went to Bangalore and then they surrendered to police. During questioning in Bangalore, Sharma said that he was living along with his lawyer in a hotel called Pai Vihar, and cops went to check his room at Pai Vihar and they found a briefcase with a 32mm Arminus revolver, and they also seized some documents from his hotel room. So as I said, there were a lot of experts involved in this case, and there was a ballistics expert called Sri Roop Kumar who confirmed that the bullets found in the victim and the casings that were found in the apartment matched that of the revolver found in the possession of Sushil Sharma. It was the same 32mm revolver that fired the shots in the victim. So then the DNA reports finally came in, and the DNA test was conducted by comparing blood samples of Harbhajan Singh and Jaswant Kaur and tissue from the deceased victim, and it was found that the victim was the biological offspring of Harbhajan Singh and Jaswant Kaur. Keshav Kumar claims that Sushil Sharma arrived at Baghya restaurant around 10 p.m. that night in his Maruti car, and he rolled down the window and asked Keshav Kumar to shut the restaurant. Keshav Kumar was obviously a little taken aback because there were people still finishing their meals and the restaurant was buzzing. So he was like, do you want me to do it right now? And, Sushil Sharma was like, no, do it right away, shut it. And, he's the boss. So Keshav Kumar did shut the restaurant. And this can be confirmed by two other witnesses who were there. They both worked at Baghya restaurant and they were singers, and their shift went on from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. They confirmed that they saw Sushil Sharma around there at 10:15 and that their shift was cut short and they were told to go home earlier than they were supposed to that night. After this, Sushil Sharma told Keshav Kumar to bring a gunny bag to the car, and at this point, Keshav Kumar noticed Naina's lifeless body in the back seat of the car, and he says that he was scared, which I understand. He said that he went along with it in the moment because he was scared. This man had just murdered his wife, and if he said something, he could have murdered him too. So he did not say anything and he went along with it. They tried to put Naina's body in the gunny bag, but they were not able to, it wouldn't fit. So then Sushil Sharma told Keshav Kumar to bring anything that they could wrap her in. So he brought this big plastic tarp, which is what was found next to the tandoor later on. They wrapped her in this plastic tarp and they carried her to the tandoor. This is when Keshav Kumar kept guard while Sushil Sharma attempted to burn her body in the tandoor. Keshav Kumar said that at some point they ran out of ghee and Sushil Sharma sent him out to buy butter, and he returned with 500 grams of butter. And I don't know why this detail really bothers me. It irks me because it's just such a daily commodity that so unsuspecting, just buying butter, but then the gruesome act that it was being used for that just really messes with my head. But yeah, so Keshav Kumar brought that butter, but it was still not enough, and which is why they were adding firewood and bits of paper to accelerate this fire. Once he was brought back to Delhi, Sushil completely changed his story. He admitted to murdering his wife. At first he said it was due to some political conspiracies, then he said that his wife was having extramarital affairs with multiple political leaders. He changed his story and he kept going back and forth. And I think he knew what he was doing. He was a well-spoken man, he was a politician, and he had legal advice from the get-go. So I'm sure he was just trying to change his statement and go back and forth, because the longer this process took, the longer he was free. So the police had all the evidence they needed to link Sushil Sharma to the murder of his wife. They had the multiple eyewitnesses, they had the blood in his car, in the apartment, and also that they literally found the murder weapon in his possession. They didn't need anything from him except for just to find out what happened, what led him to murder his wife and then burn her in his restaurant's tandoor. And then Sushil Sharma finally gave in. He told the police what happened on that night, 2nd July 1995. So on the night of 2nd July 1995, Sushil Sharma came home to find his wife having a drink and talking on the phone. They had been having marital problems. They had been married for almost 2 years, but people in their community and in their political circle didn't really know that they were married. And Naina wanted to tell people that they were married, but for some reason Sushil didn't, and this was causing stress on their relationship. I've also read in places that Sushil was abusive towards Naina, and Naina wanted to get out of this relationship, and that she was also considering immigrating to Australia. Apparently, Sushil had found out about this. He also suspected that his wife Naina was having extramarital affairs, particularly with this one man called Matloob Karim, who was the same person who identified her image when her parents failed to. So on the night of 2nd July, Naina hung up the phone when Sushil came home. Sushil asked her who she was speaking to, and she said that it was just a family member, but Sushil did not believe her. He pressed redial on the phone and he realized that she had been speaking to Matloob Karim, and he was not happy about this. They got into a really big argument, and after this, Sushil says that Naina grabbed his revolver and threatened to commit suicide. This made him so angry that he took the revolver from her and shot her twice. After this, Sharma decided to dispose of her body in the Yamuna river. So he wrapped her up in a bedsheet and dragged her down the stairs and tried to put her in the boot of his car, but for some reason it wouldn't fit. So he put her in the back seat of the car and drove to the ITO bridge. But he realized that there were a lot of cars and that he would not be able to dump a body in the river with that much crowd. So he took a U-turn, and I guess this is when he decided to burn her in the tandoor at Bagya restaurant. So now let's get into the sentencing in this case. Keshav Kumar cooperated with police and he was charged with burning the body because he wasn't involved with anything else, and he was given 7 years in prison and a fine of 10,000 rupees. And Sushil Sharma was found guilty for murder, criminal conspiracy and destruction of evidence, and he was given a death penalty. But in 2003, his death sentence was reduced to a life imprisonment sentence, and the court said that this was because they could not find any evidence of him chopping up the body, and also because he did not have any previous offenses and that he wasn't a hardened criminal. So this man, Sushil Sharma, who murdered his wife and set her on fire in his restaurant tandoor, is now free. And this is because of the laws that we have. He went 20 years without having bail. Then after a certain amount of time, you are eligible for parole. And like I said, the previous reasons of him, of this being his first offense and of him not being a criminal, and the authorities said that he did show remorse and that he did work on himself and try to improve himself during his time in jail. So this is why he was released.
अगर क्या हुआ था
सर, मैंने आपको बताया कि वो ऑल ड्यू टू पोजेशन में, जब आदमी पॉजेसिव होता है किसी भी सिचुएशन में, तो वो मेरे जैसी सिचुएशन में आ जाता है। और जब क्राइम हो जाता है तो क्राइम को बचाने की कोशिश में आदमी और गलतियां करता जाता है। क्राइम जैसे हो जाए, जब हो जाए, उसको स्वीकार कर लेना चाहिए। तो वो मेरी जो पॉजेसिवनेस थी, वो जेल में जाने के बाद मैंने जो जेल में पसीना मेरा निकला है 24 साल में, उसमें वो सारी चीज़ें निकल के बह गई हैं। जेल कोई बहुत अच्छी जगह नहीं है, लेकिन जेल, आज मैं कह सकता हूँ, जेल अच्छा नागरिक बना के भेजती है।
Yeah, I think this case is interesting because he's out. I want to know what you guys think about that. Like, do you think that there is any punishment justified for a crime that is so gruesome? Or do you think that if a person has shown improvement and shown remorse, that everybody deserves a second chance? Please let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video or if you learned something, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy true crime content, also give this a thumbs up. Please subscribe, hit the post notifications, comment letting me know what I should talk about. A lot of people have said that I should talk about the Arushi Talwar case, but I felt like there's already a movie, you know the story. But if you all want me to cover that, I would be down. I will see you all next Friday or Saturday or Sunday.